There's a war outside, monsters are eating villages, kings are being assassinated, Radovid's hunting mages, sorceresses are plotting, Nilfgaard's marching. And what's Geralt of Rivia doing? Playing cards. Yep. While the world burns, our brooding monster slayer is off in a tavern somewhere, throwing down Northern Realms cards like he's got rent due. But this game that The Witcher 3 seems to tell us Geralt is addicted to,
yearning to play a few rounds of Gwent, that ought to set me straight,
isn't just for downtime, as we see Geralt opting to play at the most absurd of times. It's not a silly minigame or RPG filler from the player's perspective. Gwent is more than a card game. Gwent is Geralt's therapy, its order in a world that makes no sense, its structure in a life ruled by chaos. And it might be the only thing Geralt ever truly controls. So today, we're looking into why Gwent is more than just fun, why it matters more than we think, and what it tells us about Geralt, the world of The Witcher, and maybe even why you, me, and half the fan base were subconsciously attuned with Geralt in making the choices we chose for him, which was ignoring side quests just to become professional card sharks in war-torn villages. Geralt's world is a mess, literally and figuratively. He's a mutant freak hated by the people he helps. He's constantly being dragged into prophecies he didn't ask for. Sorceresses seduce him, then betray him. Kings use him, peasants fear him, and every single problem he finds himself embroiled in is someone else's. He journeys across several kingdoms in search of his adopted daughter, encountering Gaunter O'Dim, a literal devil who further takes away his control, his agency, and plunges him into more chaos. None of it makes sense, but Gwent makes sense. You've got a deck, you've got rules, you draw your cards, play your hand, and hope you outwit your opponent. There's no hidden agenda, no surprise royal bloodlines, no mages teleporting out of nowhere to ruin your day. Gwent is the one place where Geralt knows what to expect. He's not fighting to survive, just playing to win. And win or lose, the outcome is fair. It's the only time when he almost forgets he's a mutant. That's not a luxury he has outside the table. In fact, look at how often Geralt voluntarily sits down to play during the most intense moments of the game. He could be on his way to stop the Wild Hunt, literal dimension-hopping ice ghosts, and still pop into a Skellige Inn like, before I risk my life saving the world, let me absolutely destroy this fisherman's Northern Realm deck real quick. On the surface, Geralt is the king of stoicism. But beneath the gravelly deadpan voice and endless sarcasm is a guy who's constantly grieving something. His childhood, his freedom, Yennefer, Ciri, Kaer Morhen, the few friends he has left and the ones he's lost over the years. So what does he do? He plays Gwent. To him, Gwent plays several roles. It's a distraction from his thoughts. It's an emotional armor when things get overwhelming, and an escape from the cage of his reality and responsibilities. When the world becomes too much, when emotions start leaking past his Witcher training, Gwent becomes the thing that lets him have control again. Something with stakes, but not life or death. We don't see it because it's internal. Take the Bloody Baron quest line. It's one of the darkest, most gut-wrenching parts of the game. Abuse, trauma, loss, the whole thing hits hard. At the start of the quest, the Baron tells Geralt about how his wife and daughter disappeared in the middle of the night and how he's willing to engage in a quid pro quo if Geralt helps him find them. And Geralt goes,
in the mood for a round of Gwent?
You would think the Bloody Baron will get angry or something. Like, I just told you about my wife and daughter missing, and you're talking about playing Gwent. But no, he didn't. The Bloody Baron might be an abusive alcoholic, but he isn't short of wisdom and recognizes that the game must mean something to this famed Witcher standing before him. So he doesn't question it and was willing to play with him, even as he himself ached for his family. In a world that bleeds pain, Gwent is controlled vulnerability. Most of the time, Geralt's solutions are either slice the thing with your sword or cast Igni and then slice the thing with your sword. But Gwent is one of the few times Geralt can actually win without violence. You might be thinking, he uses Axii too and wins without violence. But it can still be argued that taking away people's agency is somewhat violent. With Gwent, there's no argument. He uses strategy, patience, memory. He outsmarts instead of outslashes. It's intellectual dominance, and it gives him something he rarely gets, victory without consequences. Nobody dies. There's no, Geralt will remember that. There's no moral slider. It's just, you brought the better deck, you played the better round, and you won. And honestly, it's empowering for us too. Let's be real. Most of us started The Witcher 3 ignoring Gwent completely. I don't have time for cards. I have to go fight noon wraiths and shag sorceresses. But then we beat that one innkeeper, got a special card, and suddenly we're doing entire side quests just to collect new ones. Gwent slowly becomes your second life inside the game, and before you know it, you're Geralt in that tavern, ignoring the apocalypse so you can hunt down someone who has a rare Imlerith card. Now you guys have heard all I've said so far. Some of you might be nodding your heads in agreement like, wow, this actually makes sense. Great, but here's where it gets deeper. Gwent gives Geralt the illusion of control, because the irony, even Gwent isn't completely fair. There's RNG, there's poor draws, your opponent might have a busted Scoia'tael combo you weren't prepared for, but you still feel in control. You feel like your deck matters, like your choices mean something. Compare that to the bigger story of The Witcher 3. Geralt's always reacting to things, chasing after Ciri, navigating politics, being dragged into other people's wars. Even his love life often feels predetermined by past games or messy choices, but in Gwent, it's just him, his cards, the table, and his opponent. Even if it's a lie, even if the deck screws him, it's his lie. And Geralt, who spent his whole life being used by other people's schemes, desperately needs something that feels like his. There's also something kind of adorable about how obsessed Geralt gets with collecting cards. Here's a man who's faced down griffins, bruxa, giant cave trolls, and he's running around Novigrad begging some banker for a Zoltan Chivai gold foil. It gives him purpose. Small, silly purpose, but purpose nonetheless. He's not just a sword for hire anymore. He's not just a tool in someone else's prophecy. He's a collector, a strategist, a human. He becomes a guy with a deck so powerful that random peasants go, damn. There's peace for him in that. And if you think about it, it mirrors real life too. A lot of us, gamers, nerds, normal exhausted humans, turn to things like trading cards, board games, or gacha apps for the same reason. We want something predictable, something finite, something we can master when everything else in life feels like it's spiraling. Geralt's the same. Even if the world burns, at least he knows how many spy cards he's packed in his deck. And finally, let's appreciate CDPR's use of Gwent as a stealth narrative tool, because when you sit down to play, you learn things about the person across from you, about the world, about Geralt and how he reacts to winning and losing. You hear rumors, side characters open up, there's lore in the flavor text of the cards. Even the decks represent factions, their strengths, their ethics, their strategies. Playing Nilfgaard is a lesson in control and manipulation. Scoia'tael is guerrilla chaos, Northern Realms, defensive power with explosive endgame, so even when Geralt's wasting time, you and he are still learning. So let's be clear, Gwent is not just a card game. It's Geralt's escape hatch, his break room, his therapy session, his low-stakes battlefield. It's the only time he gets to choose his fight, control the outcome, and walk away with no blood on his hands. Just a shiny new hero card and maybe a coin or two. And that's kind of beautiful, isn't it? In a game defined by fate, chaos, and the monsters we can't escape, Gwent gives us something small that we can control. So next time you fire up The Witcher 3 and the game screams, the world is ending, maybe, just maybe, it's okay to stop by the inn first, order some mead, and say the most powerful word in Geralt's vocabulary, Gwent. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my previous video. But if you want to see more video like this, check out the recommended one. See you there.